Hey guys, it's spring break. You can see I just had my coffee this morning at Starbucks. It was wonderful. Great way to start a Monday morning. I say it's the first day of spring break, but I mean, I guess technically Saturday was the first day, but you know, I've had a baby at home with me, so it's not really been like a true break until today. So I've got 5 days to get a lot of reading done, assuming the baby doesn't get sick, because he did last week when my husband was on spring break and he had to stay home 2.5 days with him of his 5 days off. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen to me too. Not that I don't love my baby and I would love to spend time with him, but I can finally get some work done on the house that's been needing to get done and read a lot. So let's talk about the books I'm reading for this week. There's really 2 primary books, and then I'm going to show you some other ones that I might just pick up just for fun. But the main book I'm going to be reading is The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. I am already a decent way in. I am 95 pages in. This book is humongous. The pages are huge. I think the original, like smaller paperback, it's like 700 or 800 pages. This one's only like 500 something, but it's because the pages are so tall. Yeah, it's like 550. Pages are super tall. There's appendices, glossaries, family trees, maps, you know, it's super high epic fantasy. The reason why I'm reading it is like, because the back it says, what if the hero isn't the hero after all? For Kieran is not destined to save the empire. He's destined to destroy it. And apparently it's all these different factions of people who want a piece of this kid who is apparently very, very important. It's pretty good so far. It's a little, I mean, there's dark stuff in it, but I feel like it's not really grimdark. It's like lighter in tone. So I think it's kind of fun so far. I've seen very mixed reviews though. Some people that I've seen on YouTube love it and some people hate it. Honestly, JD Ray from JD Ray Reads, Jade loves it. So that's why I'm reading this. It's based on her recommendation. So we're going to see if she is correct. I don't know if my taste align with hers very well, but we're going to find out. I'm also, this is the primary book. I don't think I'm going to actually read this entire thing in 5 days because I've got so much other work to do on the house and I want to do a lot of book shopping, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the other book I'm going to be reading, which I'm over halfway through, so hopefully I'm going to finish it because I only have like 4 hours left of the audiobook, is Lost Gods by Bram. Now, this book is super weird, and it started out as a 5-star. Well, first I thought I would probably give it like 4 stars, just before I even started reading it. Once I started reading it, I thought I might give it 5 stars, like 5-star prediction. Right now, the middle of the book is bogging down. It's like 3 stars. So I'm having a feeling it's going to come out overall like kind of a 4-star book. We're going to see. It's so weird. It is super, super bizarre. Man goes to purgatory. I didn't realize most of the story was set in purgatory, and the purgatory is like its own little world, basically, with its own politics and things. So that's been a little bit weird, but, and he just, the character recently was like in this competition that really bogged down the whole middle of the book. I would rather just have the plot. So anyway, but it's very different and very interesting. It's kind of a horror, paranormal fantasy kind of book, I suppose, I think is what it's listed as, but just very strange, kind of genre bending. But I'm 55% or something of the way through, and I'm gonna hope to listen to the audiobook while I'm working around the house and finish it this week. Like I said, I've only got about 4 hours left of that one. A couple other random books. I picked this up at the library. My baby and I went just to have something to do the other day, and I got How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. But this is one of the books that I'd put on my kind of most excited about for the year list. I don't think I even put a video out about that, but I had a few books that I was pretty excited about. And based on what I had seen from other YouTubers, you know, most anticipated reads of the year, this was definitely one that I put on my list. It's fewer than 300 pages, so it's not very long, but it's definitely like futuristic, dystopian, not really dystopian, but like there's something wrong with the climate or something. It says it follows an intricately linked cast of characters over hundreds of years as humanity struggles to rebuild itself in the aftermath of a climate plague, a daring and deeply heartfelt work of mind-bending imagination from a singular new voice. So, I mean, the fact that it takes place over a long time span and starts in, 2030, it does talk about an ancient virus. This was written after the pandemic, right? So maybe it's kind of based on pandemic stuff. Yeah, copyright 2022. So, I mean, like, literally now. So I'm guessing that it's going to have something to do with, I mean, probably based on kind of pandemic stuff. But anyway, we're going to see. I might just give this a try if I get tired of Ruin of Kings and just see how it goes. It's not a book I would typically ever read, but I hear a lot about it on YouTube. I've heard kind of mixed reviews again about this one too, though, but it's short, so maybe I'll at least give it a chance. Now, the other books, I am currently in the middle. I'm like 20% through this book called The Read Aloud Family, Making Meaningful and Lasting Connections with Your Kids by Sarah Mackenzie. It's nonfiction, just about the importance of reading aloud to your kid. Right now, there's been nothing new, so I mean, it's just kind of like, hey, make sure you read aloud. It's really important. And here's my story about it. And it's like her own, just like personal experience reading aloud with her kids. But I hear that it's going to have eventually, like there's going to be a list of books that it highly recommends and how to make more time to read with your kids if you're busy. And it kind of goes through reading with your kids at different age levels. So I might just read the part now more about like younger kids. And then as my kid gets older, I could read the other chapters. So that might be something I kind of pick up every now and then, just for something a little bit different. Also, well, let's be realistic. That's all I'm going to get time to read for this week because I only have 5 days, like 4.5 now. But I also brought home from school The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, How Little Things Can Make a Big Difference. I read another book by Malcolm Gladwell and it was really good. It was Outliers, there we go. And I thought that this sounds interesting about little things making a big difference. That's the only thing I know nothing else about it. But this is a book that someone had donated to our library. I've not even cataloged it yet. It's been just kind of sitting in my office for a long time. So I thought I would try it and then catalog it and put it in the library eventually. Then also I brought home This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. It's not new, it's just new to our library. So that's why it has the new sticker. But I got this duology for our library because I loved Victoria Schwab and I thought our students might like her young adult works. I've not read her young adult stuff. I read the Shades of Magic trilogy, and then I read the Vengeful, whatever it's called, duology. I loved it. Of course, like one of my favorite books now ever, that series. Dark Shade of Magic, love the first one, hated the second two. But I thought I might try her young adult and just see how it is. Also, I know she wrote that new book, Gallant, so I'm intrigued to try that at some point. I'm still gonna start Blessed Monsters, the third book in the Something Dark and Holy trilogy. Like the first one was Wicked Saints. I've got to read this third one. I barely started it. I read like 15 pages. So that'll be for another day because it's a big chunky one. Oh, and then, so one of the books my husband had bought me for Christmas in my little surprise Christmas video where he bought me gifts and picked out books he thought I would like, is a book of stories about dragons, short stories, just about dragons. And I think there's also poetry in here and illustrations and things. So I'm not usually one for short stories, but if I just want to pick up something kind of in between other books, or, if I want to read, if I get tired of reading this and need a break because it's going to be a long time reading this thing. I think the audiobook, they said like 30 hours or something, but obviously I'm going to read faster than the audiobook, but still. So maybe I'll read a couple short stories. That's really, let's be real. Ruin of Kings and Lost Gods by Bram. Those are going to be the two main books that I read for the week of spring break and for this vlog. So wish me luck. I'm going to go and also do a lot of book shopping, so you can come with me on that. I did some shopping over the weekend and didn't buy anything. So I don't know, how crazy is that? I went to a half-price bookstore. So I'm going to be doing some more shopping soon, and yeah, I'll talk to you again. Okay, quick update. It's Tuesday. I did not get to update you yesterday, but I did read quite a bit of both of my books. Sorry if you can hear the dishwasher. It's on in the background. We also have a taste test to do in a minute. Very exciting. So stay tuned for that. So I am on page 156 of The Ruin of Kings, which obviously is not a lot farther than I was yesterday, but I feel like I still got a decent chunk read because it's slow going. I don't even know if I'm going to finish this book this week, but I'm really liking it. So far, it's maybe like a 4-star prediction, maybe even higher, because I am really excited to pick this book up every time I do so. And I'm always excited to get back to the other timeline. So it's told in 2 different timelines. I don't know if I've said this before, but it's the main character telling his story, but then this girl / demon, whatever she is, telling his story also from 3rd-person point of view, and he's telling his story in 1st-person point of view. And it's his story he says, I'm going to start where I think my story starts. And she said, no, I think your story starts way before then. She's holding him prisoner, by the way. So she says, I'm going to tell your story from the very beginning. So it's her telling the story like from the beginning of what she thinks is the exciting part up until he starts his story. Then now he's telling his story from where it starts until how he's captive now in the present. So it's like the 2 different stories racing to catch up to the other one or the present. And so I don't know, it's really interesting. I actually like it. There's the footnotes because it's also being told like this whole thing is supposedly a story written down for like the emperor or something. This guy is like framing the whole story, and he's the one that does the footnotes, and I think he's even kind of going to be a character in it. His name's mentioned, and I think he's going to have like a little part at the end. But sorry, the dishwasher is so noisy. Why would I have to film this when I'm washing the dishes? Anyway, it's really good so far, and I'm really enjoying it. It's been a while since I've read an epic high fantasy, but this one's really good. Also, let's talk about Lost Gods. I'm 93%. Things are finally happening. I'm caring more about what's going on now. Basically, I really liked the first 20% and now about the last 15%, it seems like. So it just really kind of bogs down in the middle with, I'm gonna say this, but with the gods part, like the lost gods, and like all the politics of purgatory. I didn't think that's what this book was gonna be about, but now that I think about the title, I'm really stupid because obviously it's about lost gods. It reminds me in a way of Neil Gaiman's American Gods a little bit, like just the idea that gods are losing their power and other things are taking over instead. It kind of like old gods are not a thing anymore. People are forgetting them. You can kill gods. Like, I don't know, this sort of reminds me of that. But it's darker. It also reminds me of Sinless Sins by Josiah Bancroft, but is like better than that. Because it's like, you know, man trying to save wife who is kind of lost and has to go through different stages of a place that has political things going on, and he gets sucked into it himself. And I feel like this is very similar to that story. Although in the Sinless Sins book, that what's called Books of Babel series, that book doesn't have... well, it's a series. There's 4 of them. This one, there's just one, and it tells the whole story. So far, I'm liking this better than Sinless Sins, but I've not finished that series. I've only read the first one. So right now, I'd recommend this instead of Sinless Sins, but this one is definitely weirder, I guess. I mean, Sinless Sins is weird too, but it doesn't have like demons and gods and evil things and things that kill babies. It's a whole thing. But anyway, this book is still pretty good, and I just wish the middle hadn't bogged down. I don't think this book needed to be as long as it is. I think it's over 400 pages, maybe 450 pages or something. I'm listening to the audiobook, so it's hard to say. But the middle is definitely a little too long. But I am going to finish this book today because I only have like 40 minutes left. So we're going to have time to read another book in this vlog. And I'm thinking about Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, I think is who it's by. Because I hear so much about it, and I think I need just a middle grade book. I hear it's like Nevermore meets Men in Black, which I like. I love Nevermore. It's, you know, my new favorite middle grade series next to Harry Potter. So maybe I'll try that next. Just a little palate cleanser after Lost Gods since it's so dark. Okay, let's do our taste testing next. We have garlic and rosemary baked grissini. I don't even know what that word means, but I got this at a like a food store that has, it's an international grocery store. Okay. Oh wow, it smells intensely like rosemary. Yeah, not salty at all. I thought it would be salty. Is there any salt in this? 3 pieces have 10% of your daily sodium. Well, they don't taste like it. There's no salt like on the outside. Maybe it's baked in there. It's made out of wheat flour, olive oil, salt, brewer's yeast, rosemary, and garlic. I mean, so besides the fact that it's white, you know, flour instead of a whole wheat flour, it's not too bad for you. All the ingredients are, it's very clean. Authentic Italian. Except it says it's made for Chicago. I don't know. I'm confused. Is this actually made in Italy or not? Or it's supposed to be, considering I got it at a store that sells foods, you know, international foods. How dare a spam risk call just interrupt my video? Can you believe that? Somewhere from Florida. I don't know anybody in Florida. Well, yeah, I do, but it's not gonna say spam risk. Anyway, pretty good. Blackberry seltzer water today. This is the Walmart brand. I don't know if I've showed you this brand. This is just Walmart's brand. It's, once again, no flavorings, no fake sugar, no real sugar. It's just water and flavor, carbonated water. So this one's blackberry. And this one's good. It's like you don't need sugar if it's gonna have like a fruit flavor. So anyway, I'm gonna keep reading this book for several more hours. I've got about 4 hours before I have to go get the baby from daycare. So I've got some time to read today. All right, it's raining outside. It's dreary. I am on page, well, 168. And yeah, here we go. We're gonna get started. I've got about 2 hours left to go before I have to go get the baby. Well, I've got bad news. I just filmed this clip, but I didn't press record. Let me make sure I press record this time. Okay, it's truly recording. So this is really sad because I just said all this once. So I'm just gonna try to say it all again as fast as I can. I finished The Lost Gods by Bram. I gave it about a 3.75 stars. It was super, super weird. I used the CAWPILE rating system and I gave it, for characters, I gave it like an 8 because I loved the main character. He was very brave and just like not outlandish, but just really outgoing and just did whatever he thought was right. And he didn't really change throughout, but his personality was great. So I loved him, and I love some of the other characters too. Atmosphere, I gave it probably an 8 also because it's dark and super creepy, and I like that as far as, for this book goes anyway. It was fitting for the plot. Writing, I gave it an 8 as well. It was good writing. I liked it. Nothing crazy over the top, but I was immersed totally in the world. The writing style never took me out of it or anything. Let's see, plot, I gave it like a 6 because it's the first part and the beginning part are really, really good, but then the whole middle bogs down with like the politics of purgatory, and I didn't care about any of the other stuff happening in purgatory and the Lost Gods part itself. The gods dying out and these other people banding together to try to take over, and I didn't care about that. All I cared about was the main character Chet and whether he was going to save his wife and unborn child or not, and get revenge on his evil person that he was trying to get revenge on that I don't want to spoil. So intrigue, I gave it a 7 because I was intrigued enough obviously to keep reading, but I didn't care about the stuff in the middle, just wanted to know what was going to happen at the end. Logic was fine. I think I gave it like an 8. Enjoyment, I gave it like a 7. Like I said, it was pretty good. So all in all, that would probably come out to more almost like a 4-star, but I still don't want to call this a 4-star read. I would say 3.75. And I would still highly recommend it if you just want something really, really different. Now, I also started today, just this morning, and I'm already like an 1/8 of the way through it. My goal is to be a 1/4 of the way through it today, which is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, which I did not realize is a man. And I don't know why. I was just like shocked that a man was writing a middle grade novel from like he's in first person point of view from the main character, who is a middle school girl. So that's kind of, well, I assume she's middle school. It's supposed to be middle grade, but what I gather from it, it almost sounds more like she's in high school, but anyway, that's beside the point. So far, I'm not as impressed by this book as everybody else. Everybody gives this book 5 stars. It has one of the highest ratings on Goodreads I've ever seen, and everyone just loves it and is raving about it. However, I have issues with it already. My issues are that, one, everybody says it's Nevermore meets Men in Black. And honestly, it's like it's literally the two just melded together, and it's too much like those. I mean, literally there is a memory wiping device that looks like a remote. And I'm like, Men in Black, what? It's so similar to Men in Black. And but it's trying to be whimsical and fun and have all these supernatural elements to it. And it's trying to have the atmosphere and all the whimsy of Nevermore. But it doesn't. It's just sort of cold. I don't know. It's just like words on a page. I don't really feel the atmosphere of it like I did with Nevermore. So it's like it's trying to be whimsical for the sake of being whimsical, so therefore it doesn't work. Like you don't really feel it, if that makes any sense. I also think it is way too fast-paced. Oh my gosh, it is like just constant stuff. Like it's like, okay, well now let's start out with her. She's kind of bullied at school. Oh my gosh, she's into this supernatural society and she's already meeting all these creatures and blah, blah, blah. And this has happened in an 1/8 of the book that I have read this morning. I feel like it's just way too fast. Way too much has happened, especially since it's going to be a whole series. I don't know how this is going to play out as, if it's moving this quickly. But anyway, I'm not impressed so far. It's fine. The only thing I'm interested in is the main character now that she's at this supernatural society that she's joined, which she only joined to try to find her brother. That's the whole plot. Her brother has gone missing after he has joined this society, and now she is basically going to try to find him by joining the society as well. But her roommate that she is assigned is apparently a were-dragon, which means she can turn into a dragon, except she's never been able to do it. So that's kind of her issue. But she's also the very last of her kind to ever exist, and they found her like in a dragon's egg, and she's the last one, like I said, for like they died out like 500 years ago. So I think her plot line's gonna be cool. I want her to be the main character. Can I have a were-dragon that's never been able to turn into a dragon. I want that main character. Where's she at? But anyway, so I'm going to keep reading it and see how it goes. I'm also about to go book shopping. I have to drive all the way to Lexington, which is 30 minutes away. I say all the way. It's not that far, 30 minutes. But that'll give me an hour there and back to listen, like total an hour, to listen to Amari and the Night Brothers in the car and see if I like it any better. I'll also show you my book shopping. Maybe I'll find something good. I don't know. I just tried this tea. I already tried it once on camera because I thought this was filming and it wasn't, but it doesn't taste good. It's bubble tea in a can, which is weird. It just tastes like rice that's sweet. It's really kind of bad. It's from Taiwan. It's also really, really tall. It's huge. This can's like massive. 16.6 ounce can. So I have not got a hold of one of the boba tea pearl things yet, the little boba balls. So I'm going to try to maybe get one of my little boba straws I have upstairs and see if I can get one of those out. Maybe it'll redeem it a little bit. I'll give you an update more on this later, but I'm on page 211 and I'm still enjoying this. And so I will update you more on that, like I said, after the book shopping. But I want to go read some on this before I go book shopping. And my goal is to get halfway through this book today. So wish me luck on not spending too much money, but hopefully finding something good. Well, we made it to the bookstore. It's pouring the rain. Well, not pouring, but it is raining. And, well, it's not a bookstore either. Oh my gosh, this is starting off really badly. I can't even explain where I'm at. I'm at a place called Peddlers, and it's like an antique / flea market / used place, but it also has like crafts and arts and things, but they always have used books. Now at the Peddlers where I'm from, where I live, I know all the book stands like the back of my hand, and only one of them has sci-fi fantasy books, and the rest are just like James Patterson and that kind of stuff. So here I have no idea. I know this Peddlers is absolutely massive, so I will definitely show you guys. I don't want to look like a crazy person talking to myself, so I may just film a little bit of me walking around and showing you things without too much talking, but we shall see. It's not very crowded. It just opened. It's 10 a.m. on a Wednesday. I don't think there's too many people here, so let's finish off some coffee. I drink coffee now. That's the thing. This one's baked apple pie McDonald's from like a K-cup. Okay. Wish me luck book shopping. Why is it still happening? I don't know. Okay, this booth's a hot mess. I'm not even going near that. So these are cracking me up. You've got religion, cookbooks, the usual, but then look at this one. Good literature, classic and modern. I want to see that in a bookstore, you know. Kentucky books, good literature. So quick update. Yeah, I'm in my home library filming position because I'm about to film another video, but I wanted to show you the books I bought yesterday at the used bookstore that I went to. I bought a cookbook, which was a Rachel Ray 365 day something cookbook. Basically, it's like different meals you could fix every day of the year. And that's not very exciting, so I'm not even going to show you that. But I did buy 2 books very, very cheaply. One of which was a book that I didn't even remember until I saw it. Like, I saw it and I was like, that name sounds familiar. Did I add that on my Goodreads? Possibly. It's Carlos Ruiz Zafón, which I did not recognize that, but I recognized The Shadow of the Wind. I thought, I mean, I know the Name of the Wind. I read that book, but Shadow of the Wind sounded awfully familiar. So this is like a translated novel, and I did add it on my Goodreads. So this book, it says it's set in Barcelona in 1945. A city slowly heals from its war wounds, and Daniel, an antiquarian book dealer's son, which, I mean, if it's about books, then I'll read it, who mourns the loss of his mother, finds solace in a mysterious book called The Shadow of the Wind. Oh, it's a book within a book. Even better. But when he sets out to find the author's other works, he makes a shocking discovery. Someone has been systematically destroying every copy of every book that this author has ever written. In fact, Daniel may have the last of this person's books in existence. Soon, Daniel's seemingly innocent quest opens a door into one of Barcelona's deepest secrets, an epic story of murder, madness, and doomed love. That sounds like the most amazing thing ever. It says it's a true Gothic novel. Somehow it reminds me of that movie, The Ninth Gate, with Johnny Depp. It was based on another book called The Club du Mans. And this reminds me of that like a lot. So I'm going to read this just ASAP as soon as I get done with the book I'm reading now. I mean, it smells pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It was also, well, this was actually $5. Oh, look, it's got a note. May 1st, 2008. To Chris and Sarah, thank you very spelled Verry. Thank you very much for your hospitality. Oh, but it's the right your, so that's good. I hope you will enjoy reading this book as much as I did. Lots of love, Stathis XX. So Stathis? What a name. That's an interesting. Well, clearly the person did not enjoy it that much, or they wouldn't be giving it away. But that sounds like the most interesting book ever. And like I said, I know it's translated, I believe, from Spanish. And so I'm going to read this as soon as possible. The other book I bought is actually 5 books in one, and that is the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but this is the ultimate edition that has 5 books in one. Ooh, oh, that one just smells musty. No, that smells like an old basement. It smells like mildew or something. But it was only $3. It was $3 for 5 books. I have read the first Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but I've never read the other 4. The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe, and Everything, So Long, and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. So one day I will reread the first book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then I'll read the other ones. Total, this thing is like 800 pages, but considering it's 800 pages for 4 books, I don't feel like that's that bad. Lastly, let's update you on my reading progress. So I did start How High We Go in the Dark last night. I only read literally like 15 pages, so I barely started it, but I am intrigued. I don't know that it would be a 5-star read or anything, but it's intriguing so far. I know it's going to go to different timelines, and it's definitely like a post-pandemic book because it was clearly influenced by the pandemic about like an ancient virus or something. So I'm going to continue this one. I'll tell you more about it as I go. And then the other book is, of course, The Ruin of Kings. I'm now exactly halfway through, 272 pages, and I really like this book. I think that this book is very fast-paced and almost too much so. So I thought that at the beginning that it would stop, and like it was so fast-paced and crazy stuff was happening, and I thought, oh, it will stop here, and then now is when the characters will process everything that's happening. No, there is no downtime. There is literally no processing what is happening. And I think that that is why everyone says to read this book in the shortest amount of time possible. I have seen that recommendation, and now I see why. You should read this book in the shortest amount of time possible because there's no need to process anything, I guess. The characters don't process anything. It's just like go from one adventure to the next. And I guess that's what we're doing too as readers. And so I don't know. So far, it's like a 4-star read. Like, I like it because I do love the adventure. It's like, oh, there's dragons and now there's ancient demons, and is this guy his father? No, this guy's his father. We don't know what's going on. Is this character who they say they are? No, they're someone else. Is this his mother? No, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy. And it is very fast-paced because of that, but it's almost too much so. I would rather them stop and process. So if you like Game of Thrones, this is not as slow moving as Game of Thrones. Now, every line is truly important in this book because so much is happening, but I feel like it's like halfway in between like Name of the Wind or something, and well, I guess not halfway in between. I mean, it's just the sped up version of like Name of the Wind and Game of Thrones. So that's what I would say. If you want sped up Game of Thrones and everybody's just going everywhere and doing everything very quickly, then this is that book. And so far, I'm definitely enjoying it. I don't know that I'm going to finish it on spring break, but I'm going to try. Nothing like being up at sunrise on spring break in the rain. It's very pretty. It's very calm. Look at the birds. There's like no one out here. There's the lake down there. You can see that. Yeah. I hear woodpeckers. Rain. It's very calming. Waiting on the baby to wake up. Here we are. Well, it's the end of the break. Well, as in it's Friday. I still have 2 days off and we're going to take Ash to the zoo. So I'll have to do a little bit of vlogging when it comes to that. But I just wanted to update you because before I go get the baby from daycare, because of course this is the end of my lots of reading time, and I did finish another book. So I finished, of course, Lost Gods earlier in the week, so that was exciting. And now in 2 days, I have finished Amari and the Night Brothers, which was not even my plan to read this in this vlog, but I've read it anyway. I would give this book like a 3-star. It was fine, but it's a worse, just sort of knockoff, not as good version of Nevermore. I would just suggest reading Nevermore and not really reading this one. I guess if you just really need a fix, a Nevermore kind of fix that you want something very similar, then this would be it. But it was just, I don't know, yeah, it just didn't do it for me. It, like I said, whimsical for the sake of being whimsical. It got better, I do have to say. I gave it a pretty bad rating there at the very beginning, I think in the last clip when I told you about this book, but I would say it definitely got better. The pace slowed down a little bit. I didn't really see the twist at the end coming, so that was good. And yeah, I thought, the plot was, it got a little more interesting. It still wasn't as good as Nevermore, but I would have to say maybe I like the main character, Amari, better than I do Morgan Crow from Nevermore, just because she has more personality, whereas Morgan doesn't even have much personality and she doesn't really feel like a character, I guess, like not a very real character. But as far as the Caw Pile rating system goes, characters, I would give it, I liked the other character that was the dragon girl or whatever, so I'd probably give it a 7. As far as atmosphere goes, 7. As far as writing, the writing was fine, but nothing stood out, 7. So very kind of mediocre, as you're seeing here. Kind of a C. If I had to give it like a grade, it'd be a C on all of these, I think. Plot, 7. Injury, 7. I'm sensing a trend here. Logic, we'll go with 7. And enjoyment, 7. Because why not? So in other words, I would give this book a 7 all around. I don't know what that actually comes out to on the real Caw Pile rating system, but I'm going to say that this would be a 3-star book is what I would give this. And I don't know that I will continue on. In fact, I probably won't. It's very forgettable. As if you ever watch Jeremy Jahns, according to his movie review rating system, I would call this, forgettable in T-1 day. Probably will never really think about it much again. So here we are. I am glad I finished another book though, so that was exciting. It was about an 8-hour audiobook. Well, it was like 11 or 12. It was like 12 hours or whatever, but I listened to it on 1.5 times speed. So I was able to finish it in about 8 hours, which somehow I did in just a little over 48 hours because apparently when I'm cleaning and doing other stuff and going to Walmart and everything else, I can listen to audiobooks. So that was kind of nice. Just another small update. Ruin of Kings, I have not read anymore. I'm still halfway. I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe I read too much at once. I'm a little burnt out. Not really. I mean, it's still good, but I've not had the desire to pick it up again today, and I don't know why. Because like I said, it's good, but maybe I just did too much reading all at once or something, and now I just don't really want to. So maybe I should go read the How High We Go in the Dark. I think I might go read that actually right now because that's, even though this is a book, of course, I wanted to like finish while I was on the break, but obviously that's not going to happen. So, and I know that reading this faster will be better, and I see why, because there's so much to keep track of that it's just easier. Like you just don't forget things as much because it is so convoluted at this point that if you just read it as quickly as possible, I guess you can keep everything straight a little bit better. So, but yeah, so I think I'm gonna go read How High You Go in the Dark instead, and I'll give you another update once I have read more. So it's April and it is sleeting. Yes, the baby wants to go to bed. That's him in the background. Look at this. It just started sleeting everywhere. My goodness. Oh, poor buddy. My husband's dealing with the baby, so I gotta go do that. But I just had to show you the crazy amount of sleet that is currently falling. I've never seen sleet fall this fast before, ever in my life. It's just bouncing off the deck. I mean, it's just literally like raining sleet down. Look at this. Okay, I gotta go. All right, guys, let's end this reading vlog. This has been epically long, so it needs to end. So I'm back at school, as you can see. Spring break is over, so let's talk about what I read over the break. So I did, of course, this was my primary goal, was to read this book. I did not finish it, but I got a decent chunk. I read some more on Sunday on the way to the zoo. Oh, by the way, we took Ash to the zoo. So if you want to see some videos of Ash at the zoo, let me insert those here real quick. Oh, he's about to leave. Ash, is that a giraffe? Can you say giraffe?
He's like waiting for his food.
What do you think of that? So that was a fun trip. He really enjoyed the giraffes, as you can see. He was very talkative compared to what he usually is. So not that he's not talkative, but that was incredibly talkative for him. So he had a lot of fun. He was very tired though. Okay, so then I did read some on the way to the zoo, and I read to page 344. So I have less than 200 pages, like just a little bit less than 200. And then I'll be finished with this book. And I did see a video that said do not read the appendices or like the family trees and stuff in the background, because those could be spoilers. So I'm going to avoid that now. I looked at them earlier on, but honestly, I don't remember what it said. So since a big part of it is the main character's parentage, I don't want to find that out until, you know, the end of the book. So as of right now, I definitely plan on continuing the series. I would still say it's a good 4-star read. It's still good, fast paced. It's not perfect by any means. It's a little convoluted, just kind of for the sake of being convoluted. If you just whittled it down to what the plot itself actually is, it's not that complicated. There's really honestly not that much plot when you think about it, but it's just the way it's told makes it so complex. But I'm still very much enjoying it. I don't know why it's getting such mixed reviews and why the Goodreads people don't seem to like it, because I enjoy it. Let's also talk about the book I DNF'd. So I was telling you how I was starting How High We Go in the Dark, and I read 2 chapters and realized that I do not want to read this book. This book is so much about like a virus taking over the world. Like I said, it's clearly based on pandemic times. And this is like what happened afterwards, and like how it affected children very, very badly. And they have this like euthanasia park, which it's like a theme park where they get on one of those like euthanasia roller coasters that people have designed with all the loops and stuff, and like you die on the roller coaster. And so they do that to children who are dying anyway, to give them like a last fun day. And it was so sad. And I'm not gonna read a book about children dying of a virus. Like, why would I read that? So while the writing was good, I definitely DNF'd this. I feel like usually I DNF books because I feel like the writing itself is bad. But this is one of the first times I remember DNFing a book just because I don't like the plot and what is happening. So this is just too intense for me. The cover just makes it look, I don't know, like it's gonna be a little happier than it really was. But yeah, and I looked ahead to see, and it looks like it's not gonna get much better. I read some reviews online that kind of said the same thing. They were like, well, the tone is a little more lighthearted for the fact that it's about like children dying. So I am just not gonna read that, especially since I have a baby now. I can't read things about stuff happening to kids. I just can't. So I DNF'd this, and I'm gonna return it to the library. Then let's talk about the 2 books I finished in this vlog. I finished Lost Gods by Brom, gave it 4 stars. Super, super weird. Still highly recommend if you want something a little bit different. I also finished Amari and the Night Brothers, which I gave 3 stars because it's the not as good version of Nevermore, and I just thought it was okay. It was fine. I'm probably not going to continue on with that series though. I have no interest in seeing where it goes next because honestly, I don't even know where it would go. Well, I don't want to give it away, but it doesn't leave off on such a cliffhanger even that you really need to know anymore. Like it could be a pretty much contained story in itself. So those are the books I read over spring break. Let me know down below what you guys read over, I was gonna say spring break. Most of you probably don't really have a spring break, but what have you been reading recently? How about that? And I will talk to you guys again later. Bye.